All right, we're about to pull back the curtain on one of the most hidden, high-stakes corners of the digital world, the shadow market for zero-day exploits. This isn't just about hackers and hoodies. We're talking about a global marketplace where the most powerful digital weapons are bought and sold, and the biggest customers are often governments themselves.
I know, that sounds like something straight out of a spy movie, right? But that's the reality of a zero-day exploit. It's a threat so new, so completely secret, that nobody, not even the people who wrote the software, has any idea it exists until it's too late.
So to really get a grip on what's at stake here, let's look at a real-world story. This is the one that proved to the entire world that these aren't just theoretical threats. They are, in fact, the perfect digital weapon.
Now, the big deal with Stuxnet wasn't that it stole data. It was so much more than that. This incredibly sophisticated cyber weapon used 4 completely unknown flaws in Microsoft Windows to jump from the digital world into the physical one, causing actual, real-world destruction to Iran's nuclear program. It was an absolute game-changer, a global wake-up call.
Okay, so how on earth is something like that even possible? To really understand this, we've got to break down the core concepts and make sure we get the language right.
So it all starts with what's called a zero-day vulnerability, and the name is completely literal. The developer has had exactly 0 days to fix the problem because they have no clue it even exists. The analogy here is perfect. It's like a secret door into a secure fortress that not even the person who designed the building knew was there.
Think of it this way. A vulnerability is just a crack in the wall. It's step 1. But to do anything with it, an attacker has to build an exploit. That's the special tool, the crowbar, designed to get through that specific crack. And finally, they launch the attack, which is them actually using that tool to break in. It's the difference between knowing a lock is weak versus actually having the custom-made key to open it.
And this is where the distinction is absolutely critical. With a known vulnerability, what we call an end-day flaw, a patch is out there. It becomes a race against time for you to install that patch before attackers can use it against you. But with a 0-day, you don't even know you're in a race. There's no warning, no patch, just boom. The attack comes out of nowhere.
So who even finds these secret backdoors? And what happens to them once they're found? This is where a whole complex and incredibly lucrative economy kicks in.
You've basically got 3 main groups of people hunting for these things. On one side, you have the good guys, ethical hackers and security researchers trying to find them and get them fixed. On the other side, you have cyber criminals looking to make a profit. And then, right in the middle, you have government agencies who play in a very gray area, often buying up these exploits for their own intelligence and cyber operations.
And these different groups, they operate in totally separate marketplaces. The white market, that's all about finding flaws and responsibly telling the software company. The black market is pretty straightforward. It's pure cybercrime. But it's this gray market that is the most fascinating and, frankly, the most controversial. This is where private brokers act like digital arms dealers, buying exploits for millions and then selling them to governments.
And when we talk about money, the prices are just mind-blowing. Check this out. $3 million. That's the potential going rate for a single, powerful, zero-click exploit. That means it can take over a fully updated iPhone without the user ever clicking on a link or doing anything at all.
And it's not just about operating systems. $500,000. That was the asking price for a 0-day vulnerability in Zoom. It just goes to show you that the everyday apps we all use for work and school are massive, high-value targets in this shadow economy.
So we've seen the insane price tags, but what about the real-world consequences? Let's be clear, these aren't just theoretical threats sitting on a shelf somewhere. Traded exploits have caused absolutely devastating damage. Remember WannaCry in 2017? That massive ransomware attack was powered by an exploit called Eternal Blue, which was originally developed by the NSA and then leaked. Then, in 2021, we had Log4Shell, which was an absolute nightmare. A flaw in this tiny, obscure bit of code used everywhere put millions of devices at risk, from huge cloud services down to video games. And just recently, the MoveIt attack showed how one little flaw in a file-sharing tool could expose sensitive data from hundreds of major organizations.
After hearing all of that, it naturally leads to the single most important question in all of cybersecurity. How in the world do you defend against a threat you literally cannot see coming?
And that really is the central challenge, isn't it? There's no patch to install, there's no known virus signature to look for. Your traditional tools like antivirus and firewalls, they're basically flying blind against a 0-day.
Well, the answer isn't some single silver bullet tool. It's a strategy called defense in depth. The philosophy is really simple. You have to assume that one of your layers of security will fail.
So you build a fortress with multiple walls. Even if a zero-day gets an attacker past your first wall, your firewall, their ability to move around is limited. And hopefully, their weird activity gets flagged by tools that are looking for abnormal behavior, not just known threats.
And this visual really captures that modern approach perfectly. See, it's not about building a single, impenetrable wall anymore. It's about assuming something will get through and then having the tools to actively hunt for it once it's inside your network. It's about taming that unseen threat before it can do its real damage.
The whole mindset in cybersecurity has shifted. The new goal is to detect what we call post-exploitation activity. You operate under the assumption that a breach isn't a matter of if, but when. So the top priority becomes spotting the intruder after they get in, but before they can steal your data or break your stuff.
And this leaves us with a really critical question, the one that keeps security experts up at night. As our technology gets more and more complex, are we just creating more dark corners for these flaws to hide in? Are our defenses actually evolving fast enough to close the gap? Or is the next devastating, world-shaking zero-day not a question of if, but simply a matter of when?